I've got an amazing guest with me, Catherine Molloy, who is the original author of The $1 Million Handshake. So a lot of you may know this book. Catherine is a well-known expert speaker, and she is put all her knowledge now into another amazing book. And we're going to be hearing all about that this morning. And I'm here to ask Kath some questions, and then we've got a surprise at the end, so stay with us. So Catherine, you've written this amazing book, and it is a compilation of all your mindset around being a conscious leader. So first of all, tell me about, why you wrote this book.
Great question. Thanks for asking. The conscious leader, what I realized working with leaders over the last 12 years, I started a training company, and I thought it was going to be around, customer service because everyone needs it. But what I was being asked for all the time was leadership and management. So I went into a lot of businesses, and I had my diploma of leadership and management, and now I've gone on to study my master's in leadership. But learning from so many people made me realize that most of the time people just aren't present in that moment, conscious of self, conscious of others, and conscious of the context. So in 2000, I don't know when I first began, 14, with the $1 Million Handshake, which came out of the last financial crisis, the GFC, and it was all about the way that we connect and communicate. And my leadership was going in there. And the publisher, Handshake, said to me, "That's another book, Kath." And I was like, no, I don't want to write another book. And then the more that I worked around the world, I work in over 80 countries and cities, and it's been an incredible journey. And then, of course, 2020 March came and it all stopped. And my book was supposed to be released at the end of 2019. But what happened was, being such a busy year, 2020 gave me time to really complete it, but also to watch and learn what the leaders were doing, and to interview a lot of leaders through 2020 and through COVID. And so the conscious leader, yes, we're all conscious, well, at least you'd hope so, but most of the time, 95% of our time is actually spent in that, unconscious mind. We don't think about where we're putting the toothpaste and which tooth to brush. And, I was traveling to Brisbane yesterday, so I don't talk about cars in the book, but I was traveling to Brisbane yesterday, and even in cars, people are getting way too close depending on your speeds. If you're going 100, you should be 7 lengths back, etc. And so, how are you making the other person feel when you sit on the back of that car? And importantly, when you're driving and you're in the wrong lane and you're going under the speed limit, how are you making other people feel? So a lot of times we're just so focused on self, we're not thinking. And maybe that car in front of you is all of a sudden doing 80 because the sign has changed to 80 and you didn't see it. So we need to learn to be a little bit more conscious of everything that's happening around us. And of course, the planets. My big thing years back were the plastics and the straws. And, I was walking around India and we were getting people to take things out of the ocean and put them into the bins. And now there's a big movement there happening. We have movements happening here, and straws being banned. So it's just being aware. If you see something and you're passionate about it, you can make a difference. One person can make a difference. And, we can all complain about this leader and that leader, but what are you doing? And so with the conscious leader, there's so much stuff around leadership. I wanted to put it into one book that you could pick up. And so the first chapter really is you discover your style, but also hearing about all the other different styles of leadership that you hear being thrown around and what those strengths and weaknesses are, and looking at what you would love to add to your toolkit. But also, what do you need to take out, that isn't serving you, that isn't serving the people that are following you? And then we move into SEALs. We're creating SEALs all around the world. I was just speaking again last night, and that is our conscious, emotionally intelligent leaders. There was a big report came out that all leaders are going to be, emotionally intelligent by 2030. And I'm like, why are we waiting? I really wanted this book to hit this decade and to start making a difference now. You know, it's just time. And of course, then we move into, you know, our purpose and language for leadership, which is one of my favorite chapters, because it's all around our body language that we speak, the language that we tell ourselves, the language that we write, that we text, and, you know, how we can, you know, turn our language around that actually changes our life and the lives of others. So
that's amazing too, Kath. Like you talk, you know, about conscious leader, and a lot of people think, oh, that's to do with, you know, leaders in maybe government, leaders in business, but really it's about, you know, leaders in life. You know, it's not just for, you know, which leads to my next question, but it's just, you know, who this book is for. Some people may think it's just for, you know, a business, but necessarily we're all leaders in life. So, you know, elaborate on that, on who you think this book is for, because that's brought to my attention that a lot of people think it may be just for business owners or people in leadership positions.
Look, you know, thank you for asking that question as well. I guess I'm going to get some good questions today. So when I started, you know, I worked with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, changing that mindset. But what I discovered was this is just as important at home with our families and building those relationships. And then, of course, it's important I work with senators and people in government, you know, through their language and what are they getting out there? What are their messages? Because we miscommunicate all the time. So in actual fact, the first person that you need to influence every day is yourself. And the thing is, we do influence ourselves, but not always well. We have the grumbles, it's someone else's fault, this, and this. So if we can start to change the way we lead, if we can be more conscious in the present and not always going back into the past, you know, the minute I've spoken, it is now the past. So we need to be conscious in the present to get to where we want to go in the future as well. You know, who am I talking to? Am I looking at them, or am I thinking about what I've got to do at 3 o'clock this afternoon? Giving that undivided time and attention to what you're doing right now makes an absolute difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Being in the present at the time, it allows, you know, it allows you to really capture what the person is saying. And I also think that, I mean, there's so much jam-packed in this book. You know, we learn not only about some things that we can do, but we also learn in this book about ourselves. There's some amazing profiling and tools in there. So tell us a little bit about that, how we kind of really get to know a little bit about how we can be better leaders and conscious leaders, but also, you know, how we learn more about ourselves and how that works in together.
So, you know, my background is in training and education over the last 25 years. And of course, I will stay educating myself to the day I die. And, you know, I remember Wayne Bennett saying, you know, if you think you know everything, you might as well die now. And, you know, every day is a learning opportunity. And I think that's what I've put into this book, that everything in here is a learning opportunity. So there are stories that are easily relatable to, where you go, oh yeah, I've done that, and what can we do about it? We've got we've got 6 amazing leaders around the world that have been chosen for each one of the chapters. So you can see what they've done and their outcomes as well, because we really do learn from each other. I think that's hugely important. But also, because I'm in training and education, I've had to throw tools in as well that you can implement immediately and find things out for yourself, because you know what? We're sick and tired of being told things. You must do this, you must do that. No, I would rather show you and let you experience and find out and create your way of leadership and your style of leadership that works best for you and best for your strengths, because we all have different strengths, right? And so the book is interactive, and thanks to Dean Publishing, you can jump in there. And if you really love this chapter and you want to know more, there's videos and downloads, and there's, you know, questionnaires and PDFs, and you can share them. And, you know, my idea of this book was to get it to as many people as possible. Imagine everyone being a little bit more present on the planet today.
Yeah, beautiful. And I know that we're doing a bit of a pre-launch today, which is really exciting. The book is being launched on Amazon, and then you'll be able to start getting your physical copies and interactive copies as they come out, now. And we've got so many tools in there for people, like Kath said, not only to learn about these amazing leaders that Kath's interviewed, and their stories. So you're getting lots of different ways of being able to understand conscious leadership. Just on that, what was one thing that sort of, I know I'm probably taking you off cuff a bit here, but out of the amazing people that you interviewed, what was one thing that you found was, across, maybe one thing that you found across all the leaders that they were doing, or maybe something that stood out for you?
Wow, great question. So, one of my strengths is to look at everyone as an individual. So everyone has an individual story, individual outcomes. But what I did discover through this, and what I have discovered in life too, is for each and every one of us, it's going through the processes. And then when we are actually present of what just happened and how I domino affected that outcome, that's when everything changes. So what they discovered along the way was things that, leaders they'd worked with that weren't so great. And then they had used that when they started to lead. Because, monkey do, we copy things and we think, well, that worked for them, I'll do it. And it doesn't always work for you. And what they discovered then was being more conscious, oh, people aren't happy with this, and then working out the best way to lead. And that's what I love. So I really ask stories of, who was the leader that you worked with that was fantastic and why? Who was the leader that wasn't so great? When did you fail in leadership? And, when did you succeed? Because I think we learn from those failures. There's no losing, only learning. And that's what all our leaders have done. They've learned some great stories and some great stories to share. Now, do we have to continually make mistakes to learn? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we can learn from others. And, I think the best way of learning is to sit down and read a book, gain some extra knowledge, put some things into practice. And for me, I still love curling up with a book that I can put sticky marks in, highlight. I never let my children write in books, but now I do.
Yeah, absolutely. And this book is jam-packed with lots of tools and techniques and things that you're going to learn from not only, Kath and all her knowledge that she shares and her experience of working, all around the globe. She's put all her information in here, along with some interviews of other leaders, like we said, and tools and techniques that get you to understand who you are and how, being aware and being conscious of those things can have you be a better leader. So as we said, there's so much jam-packed in this book. We've got a launch, and Kath is doing something really extraordinary for the next 24 hours or so. We are launching the book at a very low cost on Amazon, and it's because Kath wants to get her message out to so many people. So if you wanted to jump on, and you are one that likes to read it on a device, you can watch it on, you can get it on your phone, your iPad, any device. If you're an ebook reader, now's the chance to get it. I don't know about you, but I'm one that loves to have an ebook. I'm a little bit greedy. I like to have a physical book. I love a physical book. And then, having both to be able to, swap between the two. So, and the interactive version that you'll see launch, if the code's not there, it will be in the next few days. That's something else that's also available, where you can actually make notes. If you're not one that likes writing inside of a book, you can have that as well. So for me, I kind of like purchasing all of them. I even buy an audio book, a physical book, and an ebook. I like to look at them at different times and use them, read them when it's suited, but I do love a hardcover book in my hand as well. So if you have read the book, $1 Million Handshake, if you're ready for the next book, which Kath is holding up now, then you're ready to get, that's it, So tell us just on that, read us there the subtitle. I really love that. It's not just about the conscious leader. Read that out for us, Kath.
Yes, it's the ultimate guide to lead a life worth living through crisis and beyond. And right now, with mental health being one of the biggest issues, and look, truly it has been for a long time. 10 years ago, I've been working with people with this. And, you know, they're saying 1 in 4 Australians, and the results are pretty much the same around the world. With COVID, I'm sure the results are getting lower as well. But for great mental wealth, we really need to start to watch the thoughts that are coming in our head. And that's why I loved, especially chapter 4 for this, language for leaders, how we can start to change that language and be healthier and think healthier and act healthier.
Absolutely. There is no better time than to read a book like this. So if you jump on the link will be below, where you can jump on and grab your copy. Again, just for this pre-launch, it's only about $4.99, less than a cup of coffee. You can grab it just for today. Let's get this book out to as many people. And then, yeah, you know, is there any parting words that you'd like to let the readers know? I know this book is for everyone, whether you're a leader in your own life and you're a leader in business. We all need to be more conscious leaders. So is there any parting words that you would like to leave our listeners today, other than they need this amazing book? Is there anything else, Kat?
Great leaders know that they need to communicate well. They need to energize themselves so that they can energize others, and to be able to engage themselves and engage others, make them feel part of what you're doing. So if you're a little bit curious and would love to top up some of your skills in leadership and perhaps go into this decade a little bit more conscious about self, about others, about the planet, then please jump on board, have fun and share it.
Thanks so much, Kath. Bye, everyone.